questions for the weekend. If you want to fire away, we're here for all of it. Just ask your questions, whatever they may be, fantasy football related or sports betting related for the weekend. So if you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, great to have you with us tonight. Decided I'd come on for a late night show, so fire away with your questions. Here to talk sports, fantasy football, sports betting for the weekend, whatever you guys want to talk about. I like anime. Great to see you. Wanted to do a night show for those who might have not been able to join us earlier in the day, so just wanted to be here. Bird, I would be worried about D-Hop as well. I'm hearing he might play, but still, I just don't like the opportunity with him this week. Kyle, trade Mixon and D-Hop for Wilson and ETN. Which Wilson are we talking about here? Garrett Wilson? Then I would absolutely do it. Appreciate all of you being with us, no matter the platform, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or Kick. Kyle, I would do that trade. How do you feel about Romeo Doubs this week? Don't think he's going to be as good as last week, but think he's going to actually be maybe a good flex play. Quinn, Breece Hall, Mostert, Zay Jones. It might end up being Mostert for me, Breece Hall being second. I like anime. Trade Joe Burrow and Mixon for ETN and Fields. The answer is yes, I would probably do it. Fields or Lawrence? Ooh, great question. I like both of them this week. I'm going to lean slightly towards... I'm going to lean towards Fields, believe it or not. I'm going to lean towards Fields, I think slightly over Lawrence. It's very close. Very close. I just think Fields could end up having a big day on the ground running the ball. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, feel free to fire away with your questions as well, answering them on TikTok, of course. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that follow button. Adam, trade Stevenson and Addison for Saquon Barkley? No, I would keep Stevenson and Addison. I think those are two good players to have. Kelly or James Conner this week? I'm going to lean slightly towards Josh Kelly. Ryan, I'd go with Mike Williams over Josh Kelly. Collins or Pittman? I'd definitely go with Pittman over Collins. Joshua Kelly or Mostert? That's a great question. I'm leaning slightly towards Joshua Kelly, but not by much. That's very, very close for me. Hope you guys are enjoying the show. FBG watching on Twitch. If D-Hop doesn't play, should I start Dotson or get Puka off of wires? Well, out of those options, I start Dotson, but I'm not big on Puka. He has an injury going up against a tough defense, so I'm not nearly as high on him as others are. If you're watching on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, or TikTok, fire away with your questions. Here to answer all of them. Brent, how you doing this evening? Start one. Puka, Elijah Moore, or pick up Treylon Burks or Dobbs. Out of that entire group, I think I like Romeo Doubs the most, Elijah Moore second. Brenna Ford, should I drop Cam Akers for Kelly? Absolutely. Quinn, Mostert is playing Pats. Would you still start him over them? Quinn, I'm aware of the matchup. I know what I'm saying. No, Mostert I think could have a really good game against the Patriots' run defense. Because they're going to be so preoccupied with the passing game. But still, I don't think I like him as much. Algier or Dameon Pierce? I'm still going to go with Dameon Pierce, even with the QB questions. It might be Davis Mills because CJ Stroud is injured. But I'm still going to believe in Dameon Pierce more so than Algier. He's just getting more touches. King or Iron, A.J. Dillon or D.J. Moore? I would go with D.J. Moore over A.J. Dillon. DJ Moore over A.J. Dillon. Brandon Rodriguez watching on YouTube. Flowers, Gibbs, James Cook, D-Hop, McLaurin, Mike Williams. I have to pick one for the flex. I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs, 1. Mike Williams would be number 2 on that group. Appreciate all of you guys watching. Coach, I'd go with Joshua Kelly. Coach, I'd go with Joshua Kelly over James Cook. Ethan S., I would go with Mike Evans over Amari Cooper, just barely. Mike Evans, I'd go barely over Amari Cooper. More because, again, I think the volume, Mike Evans might get good volume there. Should I start Trevor Lawrence or Tua? I would definitely start Trevor Lawrence this week. Trevor Lawrence over Tua. Dobbs is also on the wire. FBG, I like Dobbs more than I like Dotson. Would you take DJ Moore, AJ Dillon over DJ Moore if Aaron Jones doesn't play? I actually don't think I would. It's closer, but I don't think so. I really like DJ Moore this week. I think he's a must-play. Money Branch, I really like Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams over Dameon Pierce. Think Gibbs is going to get more snaps. It's been confirmed. They've already come out and said he's going to get more opportunity, and I don't think they're just doing that as a head fake. Priscilla M, I'd go David Montgomery. Priscilla M, I'd go with David Montgomery. Peter, question mark. Very tough for me between Debo and Zay Flowers. I'm going to lean slightly towards Zay Flowers, believe it or not. I think that the Ravens may rely on him just a little bit more, but it's very, very close. John Johnson, Njoku, Kincaid, or Musgrave. John Johnson, I would go with Njoku, number one. I think he's got the greatest chance of getting in the end zone for you. Musgrave is a sleeper pick, though. Michael Thomas or Puka. Oh, that's easy. I would definitely go with Michael Thomas. No matter what platform you're watching on, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, make sure you hit that follow button and you subscribe. Brent, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much, Brent. I appreciate you. Let me shoot on down to the bottom where we can get to more questions. Tyler Lockett or Amari Cooper, very interesting. I like both of them. I'm leaning more towards Tyler Lockett. Maybe this is one where I'm going out on a limb compared to some other people. I think Amari Cooper could have a good Monday Night Football, but I think the Steelers' defense will play better this week in coverage than they did last week. I think Tyler Lockett, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, even Jackson Smith and Jigba are going to have a really good week in Detroit. They played well last year there. I understand the pass rush is really good in Detroit. Secondary is better, but still, I think that the Seahawks passing game is going to be effective, so I'm leaning slightly more towards Tyler Lockett. In a flex standard, A.J. Dillon or Flowers. That's one in which if Aaron Jones doesn't play, I like A.J. Dillon more, but for now, I like Flowers. Because I'm still assuming Aaron Jones may play. Critical, Garrett Wilson or Christian Watkins. I'm leaning more towards Garrett Wilson, but not by much, just a little bit. Honest opinion, should I trade Debo and ETN for Gibbs? No, you're giving up way too much. I know it's a dynasty league, but that's way too much to give up because I think ETN is valuable maybe even next year as well. Justin Fields or Richardson? Great question. I'm going to go with Justin Fields. Foot 3A8. Hi. Question? Go for it. You have Deshaun Watson, Barkley, Chubb, Debo, Mike Evans, Mark Andrews. Who should I trade for? I think you're a little overloaded on the Browns offense. I would try to upgrade a quarterback out of that group. I'd also think you need to upgrade over Nico Collins. Those would be the two areas, but I think it's a very strong team. Brandon Rodriguez, Gibbs still over Kelly. I think so. Kelly does have a tougher matchup in terms of the Tennessee Titan run defense. Dylan, Mike Williams or Amari Cooper? Dylan, I would go with Mike Williams. Mike Williams over Amari Cooper. Is Fields a top 10 quarterback? Not in the league, but this week he will be. He's going to have a good week against the Bucks. Jackie T3D, thoughts on Mark Andrews? I think he's not only going to play, but I would start him. I am starting him. PK, I'd go Raheem Mostert. PK, I'd go with Raheem Mostert. Best wide receivers to trade for. I think Chris Olave is still being undervalued by people. There may be some people who are willing to trade Garrett Wilson, and so maybe you could get him for cheap. I think T. Higgins might be undervalued again, and you better get him before this week because he's going to pop. Nakua, Kelly, Cooper at the flex. I'm going to lean towards Amari Cooper, just slightly over Joshua Kelly. Hey, should I start Javonte or Zay Jones? I don't think Zay Jones is going to have nearly as good a week this week as he did last week. I lean slightly towards Javonte, though I'm not crazy about it. Trey, Fields or Richardson to start? I'd go with Fields. Chris09, trade away Justin Jefferson for St. Brown and A.J. Brown. If I'm getting both of them, absolutely. Oh, you've got Hurts, so you're stacking there. Still, I think you're getting incredible value. Foot, there are a lot of quarterbacks you could get. But the point is you need to upgrade. This is what I'll say about trades. Sometimes you guys ask, what should I get? And that's really hard for me to say. And the reason is it's not about necessarily who you want. It's who is available. Which teams do you think you could actually get their quarterback? There are only so many teams that'll make trades, especially trade their quarterback. So it's hard for me to say because it's like Deshaun Watson isn't in fantasy necessarily a top 8 quarterback. So there are at least 8 guys I would rather have. But how many of those teams that you're playing against really want to trade their quarterback? So it's the way to think about trading in your league is it's poker. You're playing the player. You're playing the opposing owner. So which other owners are susceptible to a trade? Which other owners would consider giving up their quarterback? There aren't so many. The guy who has Patrick Mahomes probably isn't going to trade him. You'd have to dazzle him. The guy who has Jalen Hurts, same thing. Lamar Jackson, maybe they're willing to move him. Joe Burrow, maybe they're willing. Josh Allen. So that's an example of who you could maybe float out there. But the whole point is, it's hard for me to answer the who should I trade for. Well, that's like, which other person at the poker table am I most fearful of? I don't know the other owners in your league, and that's what's most important in a trade. Who are the other owners? How are you going to approach them to ultimately try and snipe their quarterback, take their best player away from them, arguably? Anyways, Nick, Miles Sanders or Jamal Williams? I'd go with Jamal Williams. By the way, I hope that was a helpful explanation on how I approach trades, because I know trades are hard. If you ask me about a specific trade, it's obviously easier, but if you ask me, who should I trade for in my league? Again, I would say I don't really know who you're playing against. Do some due diligence. Try and think about who is most likely to be a good trade partner. Someone who you could both work with and ultimately get what you want out of the deal. Connor, Najee or Jamal Williams? I'm going with Jamal Williams, Connor. I'm dope. Njoku or Pitts this week? Very tough for me. I'm leaning towards Njoku just because Pitts is so hard to predict. I think Njoku gets a touchdown on Monday Night Football, so I'm leaning in that direction. I appreciate all of you guys watching. If you're watching on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. Really appreciate you guys being a part of this community. I love talking sports with you guys. User 1405. I'd go with Joe Burrow. I prefer Joe Burrow over Tua. It's really about the defenses they're facing. The Baltimore defense is depleted with injuries, and I think Joe Burrow is going to bounce back and take advantage of it. Raymond, Mike Williams or T. Higgins? I know I just said that the Bengals are going to bounce back, and I do like T. Higgins, but I love Mike Williams. The Chargers are just not as good when it comes to a defensive team, not as good in the secondary. If you're watching on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or Kick, feel free to fire away with your questions. Here to answer all of them. Wherever you may be watching, definitely here to help you guys out. Dylan, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Terry McLaurin. Dylan, it's really tight for me between Godwin and Cooper. I'm leaning towards Godwin just because the matchup, but it's very close. Should I start Montgomery over Kelly? Yes, I prefer David Montgomery over Kelly, just the better matchup. How much would you spend on Lockett for waivers? Great question. I'd probably go to $7, assuming someone would bid 5 or 6, feeling like I could definitely secure him. Because people want to be careful over the course of the season. Brecken, rate this team. Josh Allen, Eckler, Pollard, Keenan Allen, London, Andrews, Davis, Elliott, Bills defense, JT, Akers, Judy on the bench. It's a really strong team. I know you're facing a bit of a tough week with Eckler's injury, but overall, you might be a little loaded on the Chargers offense, I don't have as big a problem with that. The problem is that Keenan Allen usually gets hurt. But overall, I think this is a good team. B+, A- when they're healthy. So, Brecken, I think it's a good team. Keep or trade Cooper Kupp. If you've come this far, he's going to play in Week 5. Maybe you just keep him. Are you really going to get a better player off the waiver wire that's going to produce more if he's healthy over the season? If you got him, I'd hold on to him. He's worth the bench spot. Pick one to start. Dotson, Zay Flowers, Christian Watson. Critical watching on YouTube, I would go with Zay Flowers. Critical, I'd go with Zay Flowers. Forgive me. Jeffrey Cole, James Conner, or Kelly in the flex. Ooh, great question. On that one, I'm leaning slightly towards Joshua Kelly, only because I think he could be involved in the passing game as well. Largo, watching on YouTube, I'd go with Miles Sanders over Kendrick Bourne in the flex. I think Miles Sanders gets more opportunities with the ball in his hands, so I'll go with him over Kendrick Bourne. Z, Christian Kirk, Traylon Burks, Elijah Moore. Oh, Z, that's an easy one for me. I would go with Christian Kirk, Z. Kirk over Burks and Moore. Appreciate the question. Is White a better start than Montgomery, and is Eckler questionable? Eckler isn't just questionable, he's doubtful. If he's out, is Kelly a better start? I still think Montgomery's the better start. Daniel, I would go with Mike. This is a brutal question. I like all three of them. Daniel's asking Mike Evans, Mike Williams, or Montgomery. I feel like they're all very similar point totals. Daniel, I'll go Montgomery 1. Forgive me, I'm losing my voice. Montgomery 1, Mike Williams 2. Montgomery 1, Mike Evans 2, Mike Williams 3. I think it's very, very close. Go with Purdy or Love. Cody Austin, I'd go with Purdy. Let me get back to your questions on TikTok. Will, think Allen or Herbert has the better fantasy year? Overall year? I think it's going to be Justin Herbert, actually. Dale C, should I start James Conner plus Pittman or Flowers for Henry? Oh, trade. Sorry. I would trade Conner and Pittman for Derrick Henry. I would do that deal. Fabian, Najee, Zay, Lockett, or Moore. I think DJ Moore is the number one player for me right now. FBG, can you rate any tips? 10-man standard. Fields, St. Brown, Waddle, Christian McCaffrey, Stevenson, Kmet, Addison, Terry McLaurin, Connor. I think Terry McLaurin may not be a great start this week, but that's a really strong team overall. I think you got a good one. Valencia, Gas, I like Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst over Laporta. Peter Parker. Ooh, Peter Parker, it's very close. I'm leaning towards Zach Moss, slightly over Dalvin Cook. It's very close between those two, though. Start 3, sit 1. I'm sitting Puka. Period. I'd sit Puka. I'd start Moore, Kelly, and Mostert. Zeshaun Watson. I'm going to lean slightly, I think, towards Freiermuth. I think he's so important in that offense. I'm leaning there. I think it's very close. Laporta had more targets last week than I expected, so I think that's what's kind of in the back of my head, but I'm going to lean towards Freiermuth. Ivan, I like Kenneth Walker III. Kenneth Walker III. If you're enjoying the conversation and the advice, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Really appreciate all of you guys being with us. We're live every single day, giving out fantasy football advice. Just to give a little bit of background about myself for half a second, I worked in sports media at ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports. I've been a producer for Jim Rome. I just love talking sports, fantasy football, and sports betting. So I know there are a lot of people that you see that are doing this more and more. But I assure you, I have been in the industry producing sports content, fantasy football content, sports betting content. And I've just loved looking at the numbers, building models, obviously just studying these things to try to make the best content possible. Hope you enjoy the show. Ravens or Bengals on Sunday. I think the Bengals win. I think the Ravens cover. Jared, Raheem, or Swift for future weeks. I think Swift is probably the better play. Matt Rice, I would go with Rashad White. Matt Rice, I'd go Rashad White. Hunter, really close for me, but I'm going to lean towards Chris Olave. Hunter, I'm going with Chris Olave over Mike Williams. Very close. Daniel, would you trade ETN for CeeDee Lamb? I actually think it's a fair trade. If you need to upgrade at the wide receiver position, I get it. Cole, watching on YouTube, I'd go with Mostert. Cole, I'd go with Mostert. FBG, I got you. Nas, I'd go with Joshua Kelly. I'd go with Joshua Kelly over Kyron Williams. Big Fudge, trade Jones, Zay Jones, and Najee for Flowers. I think you're probably giving up a little bit too much. I think Jones and Najee have enough value on their own where you should ask for Flowers and more. Ian, PY, I'd go with Lockett. Lockett over Algier. Appreciate you guys being with us. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the follow button. Really appreciate you guys watching the show. I'm dope. I'd go with Travis Etienne. Valencia Gas, I'd go with Ramondre Stevenson. Jay Beansy, how do you feel about Cam Akers this week? I don't like the matchup that he has with the 49ers, and at this point, I think he's the RB2 on that team, so I like him even less. Name 3 tight ends to pick up off the waiver wire. I think Juwan Johnson is a good one. I think Hunter Henry, if he's available, is a good one. You may even want to consider Mike Gesicki this week going up against his former team, the Dolphins. He could have a good week. And if I had to go with another one, Luke Musgrave of the Green Bay Packers. Cole, what should I expect out of Kamara once he's back? I really think it's a matchup thing. I think there are going to be some weeks where Kamara is like Aaron Jones in the Packers offense, everything that you need from a fantasy standpoint. In other weeks, I do think he's going to struggle. Anthony, thoughts on Travis Etienne going up against the Chiefs? I think he's between 8 and 12 points. The question is, does he get that touchdown that gets you over the top? I think it's close. I think he has a good game. I don't think he has a great game. I wish Chris Jones had been out if I was a Travis Etienne owner. Brecken, rate this team. Mahomes, McCaffrey, Hall, Wilson, Cooper, Schultz, Evans, London, McManus, Saints defense, Steelers defense, JT and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Well, I'll just put it this way. Love your bench. Think you did a great job there. Not big on Schultz anymore with CJ Stroud injured, so you might need to upgrade at the tight end position. Overall, I give the team a B+. I think you might be a little overloaded on the Jets offense with Wilson and Hall. But overall, I think it's a good team. B+ team. Cole, really appreciate the support. Thanks so much for watching. Flowers or Puka? Not even close. Flowers. By the way, I love hearing that this advice has been successful for you guys. I hope I'm successful. I'm going to admit, there are times I get it right, there are times I get it wrong. I certainly don't act like I'm perfect on this. I just study sports for a living, so this is what I do. Justin Connor, Fields or Smith? Smith? What Smith are we talking about here? Devontae Smith? Are you saying, is that a trade? Little questionable on that. If Aaron Jones can go, are we starting him? I'm cautious with the hamstring. Either way. Hamstrings are tricky, and he has a history with it. I don't think he's going to play, but if I were the Packers, why would I risk him? You stole a win on the road last time. I'd be very cautious. Texas Rays, Cali-born Texas Rays. Great to see you again. Start Ridley and Zay Jones. I'm not big on Zay Jones this week. I think Christian Kirk has the better week. He meant Geno Smith. Oh, thank you. I'd go with Fields. Justin Connor or Fields. Thank you. I was blanking on that. Choose 2. Lockett, Moore, or Flowers. It's very close for me. I'm going to say Moore and Flowers. I'm kind of flipping on it a little bit. I like Lockett a lot, but the more I think about it, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba could be a bigger part of this offense this week. So it definitely stands out. Should I trade A.J. Brown? No, I'd keep him. Schultz or Knox? I think I prefer Knox. Will Davis Mills throw to Dalton Schultz a lot? Maybe, and I still think Dalton Kincaid. I'll go with Schultz. I just don't like Dawson Knox at all this year. I think Dalton Kincaid is going to be the starting tight end there. Do I flex Evans, Dillon if Jones is out? I still prefer Mike Evans, I think. SM, Higgins for Sutton and Sanders. I think I like that trade as well. That's good value in exchange. Start Pierce, Connor, or Jamal Williams. I'd start Jamal Williams over Pierce. Brecken, Saints or Steelers defense this week? I'd go with the Saints defense. They're going up against the rookie. Opportunity there. If you guys haven't done so, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribing to Butt Fumble Sports. We're live every single day, so I hope you hit that follow button and subscribe. No matter the platform you're watching on, love talking sports with you guys every single day. Justice Hill or Gus Edwards? Kirk, I lean towards Gus Edwards. Zach, Dallas or Jets defense? You got to go with the Dallas defense. I'd rather go up against Zach Wilson, I think. I know that Dak throws plenty of picks, but I prefer going up. I'd rather have Dallas defense. Drew, trade Pollard for Ridley and Addison? Yes, that's a good deal. That is a good deal. I would do that. Drew, I would make that trade. Judd, Danders or Dalvin? Danders? Sorry, it's late. You're going to have to let me know who you're talking about there. Ryan, Breece Hall, Pickens, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Ryan, it's a close one for me. I'm going to lean slightly towards Breece Hall, just barely over Pickens. Daniel, you've asked me this one a couple times, I think. Evans, Williams, Amari Cooper. It's a real toss-up for me between the three. I like all three. I've said that before. You've mentioned it. I think I'm leaning towards Evans 1, Williams 2, Amari Cooper 3. But it's a toss-up between Evans and Williams. I could go either way. So, you've asked me before. I could tell. Dale, Pittman or Flowers? I'd still go with Flowers. I still trust him and Lamar a little bit more. User 8911. Trade away Hall and Montgomery for Travis Kelce. Oh, that's an interesting trade. I think there's a lot of upside in that. Yes. The real Caleb Bradley. I always know you. Yeah, what's happening? Do I start Christian Kirk or Algier? The real Caleb Bradley. I'd start Christian Kirk. Great to see you tonight. Brenna Ford. Drop Ingram for Freiermuth. No. I wouldn't do that because I think I'd rather have Ingram over the course of the season, actually. Fields or Richardson? Ethan, it's a great question, but I'd go with Fields. I do like Richardson, but not as much as Fields. Greg Red. I'd go with Dotson. Greg Red, I'd go with Dotson. Griffin. I'd go with DJ Moore, Griffin. And I'd go with David Montgomery. David Montgomery over Etienne and James Conner. And I'd go with David Montgomery. Is Cooper and Montgomery for Etienne? Huh? Valencia. Check that question again. Brecken, who should I trade Garrett Wilson for since I have Hall? Brecken, I mentioned this earlier. When it comes to trades, always consider who you're trading against, the other teams in your league. That's what you should be focused on. Not necessarily the player, but literally the owners that will be willing to make a deal. Look at some owners that might be willing to make trades, go through their lineup, try to pick one or two, and go make that move. Bourne or Godwin? I definitely go with Godwin. Judd, I'd go with Miles Sanders. I'd go Miles Sanders. Bake J, I'd go Justin Fields. DSBBB, I'd go with Zay Flowers. Valencia, I would rather have Amari Cooper and David Montgomery. Zeshaun Watson, tough. Between Kelly and Garrett Wilson, that's really tough. I'm going to lean, I think, towards Joshua Kelly, but I don't feel good about that because Garrett Wilson could make one great play like we saw last week and justify the start. Zeshaun Watson, I'm leaning towards Kelly just because the volume of opportunities that the ball's going to be in his hands, running or passing. Luis, Pacheco, or Ayuk, I'm leaning towards Pacheco. Appreciate all you guys watching. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that follow button. Is C. Ridley to start? Yes, he is. User 1405. Appreciate all you guys being with us. If you haven't done so already, hit that follow button. I'm not going to be live too much longer. Wanted to come on and answer your questions. I promised I'd do a night show, so I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. If you do, make sure you hit that follow button. Really appreciate you guys being a part of the show. DSBBB, certainly appreciate the kind words. Trade Wilson for Waddle? Absolutely, Brecken, if you could. Andre, should I start Michael Thomas or Garrett Wilson? I would start Michael Thomas. User 1405, great to have you as a member of the team. JR, pick 2. Williams, Breece Hall, or Kyron. JR, Jr., I'd go Jamal Williams and Breece Hall. Appreciate all of you guys who have been watching the show. AntCan111 asks, Keenan Allen or Mike Evans. I'm leaning towards Keenan Allen, just because, again, right on, I think the defense is really bad. Jay Beansy, Dak or Geno. I'm definitely going with Geno this week, Jay. Jay Beansy, I'd go with Geno Smith. Tristan Charger, you're asking about Amari Cooper or Josh Kelly. On that one, I'm leaning towards Amari Cooper. Brendo Nintendo, Flex, Rondale Moore, Sky Moore, or Allen Robinson. I'm going to go with Sky Moore in that group. Brendo Nintendo, I'd go with Sky Moore. You guys have been so great. Certainly appreciate you guys supporting the show like you do. Hope you guys have really been enjoying it. We are live every single day, so if you haven't done so, make sure you hit the follow button. Aaron Jones, if he plays, or Joshua Kelly. I'm going to lean towards Joshua Kelly just because of that injury. Jason, Joshua Kelly, or Mostert. It's a toss-up for me. Very close. I think I'd actually lean towards Mostert just because the Tennessee Titans have such a good run defense compared to the Patriots. I think the Patriots may be more vulnerable in the running defense because they're going to be focused on Waddle and on Tyreek Hill. Dope. Waddle, Montgomery, or James Conner. Tough for me between Waddle and Montgomery. I'm going to lean towards Montgomery just because the volume of opportunities, but it's very close. I wish you could start both. Christian Watson or Gabe Davis at the flex. Oof. I'm going to go Gabe Davis. I think Gabe Davis and the Bills bounce back. Jeffrey Cole, Keenan Allen, or DJ Moore. I wish you could start both. They're two of my favorite players this week. So wish you could start both if you could. I'd lean towards DJ Moore if you're asking for one. I think. It's very close, though. Antonio Quintero, Josh Jacobs, Jamal Williams. I'm going to go with Jamal Williams. I'm going with Jamal Williams. Josh Jacobs, I think, could have a good game against the Bills. I think Jamal Williams could have a great game against the Carolina Panthers. Go Christian. Judy or Kelly? Oof. I'm going to lean towards Kelly, though I'm not crazy about it. Luis Salazar. Pacheco or Dobbs? I'd go Pacheco. Luis Salazar, I'd go Pacheco. Appreciate you guys being with me. If you guys love the content, make sure you hit the follow button. No matter the platform you're watching on, make sure you follow, make sure you subscribe. We're live every single day. That way you never miss a show. Make sure you hit the follow button. We do a pregame show before our Sundays. Kickoff, obviously, but we'll be live tomorrow multiple times helping you guys out with your bets, your picks, everything else. Appreciate it, and can. Hope you're subscribing. Hope everyone who's watching is subscribing, whether you're on TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, Kick. Appreciate it. All the support. You guys are absolutely the best. Really appreciate the support. Wilson or Puka? I would go with Wilson. Brian Robinson, Aaron Jones. I'm leaning towards Brian Robinson because of the injury star. I'd go with Brian Robinson. Moore or Kelly? Jeffrey Cole, I'd go DJ Moore. Brandon, pick 2. Kelly, Montgomery, or Traylon Burks? I'm going to go with Kelly and Montgomery. Brandon, I'd go with Kelly and Montgomery. Bongo, I'd go with Lockett. Squealers, I know we're in a battle this week, but I'm still giving you fantasy football advice, so feel free to fire away, Squealers. B Money, Kelly or Cook instead of Eckler this week? I'm going to lean towards Kelly just because I think Cook, if it's James Cook, I think the addition of Zach Moss could ultimately eat into his total touches. And if it's Dalvin Cook, same thing with Breece Hall. Joshua Kelly or Jamal Williams? Nick 463. I'd go with Jamal Williams. Appreciate you guys watching the show and supporting us like you do. Pacheco, White, or Sanders, pick 2. Very tough for me. I'm going to lean towards Pacheco and Sanders, but it's very close. Appreciate you guys supporting the show. If you guys haven't done so, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're subscribing, no matter the platform, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, or Kick. We are going to be live again tomorrow because we are live every single day. There is not a day of 2023 when we will not be live. So if you love talking sports, sports betting, fantasy sports, DFS, Butt Fumble Sports is live every single day. Hope you guys hit the follow button. Hope you guys are subscribing. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. We are live every single day. That's going to be our show for tonight. Really appreciate it. I'm going to come on at multiple times tomorrow. So if you want advice, make sure you hit the follow button because I'm going to be on at multiple times tomorrow. And that way you never miss when I'm live. Going to be kind of random tomorrow because it's a Saturday, obviously. But I want to be on multiple times to make sure I help you guys out, especially with your sports bets and with fantasy football. I know you guys need your help, so I definitely want to be here. I always say I love being the corner man, helping you guys out round by round, win your fantasy weeks, win your fantasy matchups. I will be live multiple times tomorrow. Make sure you hit the follow button. That way you don't miss it. Make sure you subscribe. I will be live again multiple times tomorrow. Hope you guys stay healthy. Hope you stay safe. Have a wonderful evening. I will see you guys again tomorrow because if it's a day of the week, Butt Fumble Sports is live talking sports with you guys. Love it. Really appreciate the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Goodbye.